Good morning. This morning is questions and answers. One of the ones I do that I really enjoy a lot. And be thinking about what you would like to ask while I invoke the lineage. Shuku kunduzonpo gompo dorji sempa garab dorji dang shere singe bardu shinlamde de dam avzan tata tusum chi zog chen jupe lamala solwa dev Ergin pema junila solwate Nurji chang chitilo narudang Marpa mila gompo tsatapa Na pupadang palden drupa sok Kagulama namla solwate O Chen Lama Namla Solwa Deb Dro Chen Lama Namla Solwa Deb Kaginwadi Lama Namla Solwa Deb Shakya Lama Namla Solwa Deb Nyendu Dayundrun Lama Namla Solwa Deb Palkondu Zhongdang Yerme Pa Gongarab Dorjijin Tragpa Jetidang nisume pai alamanam chetinte chong. Although I have been talking about Tantra a lot lately, it is a useful method. But my heart is with Dzogchen. However, for Dzogchen to be effective, you need to have examined to the point that you fully understand certain premises. Buddha nature is inherent in life. The aliveness of life in that is inherent Buddha nature. That inherent Buddha nature is not contained within the time-space continuum. The time-space continuum is a belief system. You believe there are such things as kilometers and hours. You made those up. Homo sapiens did. The way one interacts with all phenomena is based on one's belief systems. And it is those very belief systems that trap us within our little corner of the time-space continuum. Dzogchen is about letting go of those systems of belief, goes without sayings, and of courses, which are made of thought. The definition of human in the Tibetan system is that which can express abstract concepts in a language. So, if the dolphin's language can express abstract concepts, they are human. If the colorful language of the octopi expresses abstract concepts, not simply food here, danger, run, but abstractions, then they are human. When I speak of our species, I refer to Homo sapiens, a particular species of human. Although the asuras are categorized as not human, and in fact they rarely speak of abstract concepts, being much too busy discussing military plans. The gods also somewhat similar to human. Gods and demons, we're putting these in the same category. Or rather, dri. Some demons are just lint in your channels, but they also get translated as demon for peculiar reasons in ancient, the original translators who have come up with some doozies. I still love Vajradakini as Diamond Fairy, an ancient translation back in the old days. Makes me think of some big bearded guy in the tutu with a diamond, in a tutu with the diamond tiara traipsing through the Castro. Diamond Fairy. So be aware that translations are inaccurate, going from Tibetan to English. And once you're moving it to another language, some of you speaking Russian, some of you speaking Spanish or Portuguese or Mandarin, it can get a bit like playing telephone. So if you don't understand something, do ask. Let us clarify it. Let us clarify the translation or original mistranslation, like wrathful deities for fierce archetypes. They're not angry and they're not gods. Oops. It was a Christian who translated that. He was most accustomed to the Old Testament. Which does have an angry God in it. Oh man, does he get pissed off sometimes. You should read that in the original. Have we got questions yet? Have I nattered on long enough to get an accumulation?
Yes, we have a lot of questions.
Start somewhere that looks interesting.
Well, after yesterday's technical problems, somebody asked for more information on geks and what they are, how they work. What are geks? Can you speak more about those?
The best they're of course translated as demon. Everything is, by the old Christian missionaries. So the best way I would like to translate gek is glitch. They're glitches in the system, generally in your system. They are perceived as lint caught in your channels, which can accumulate to the level of dust ponies. Never mind dust bunnies and dust mice. one can get a lot of lint in there, big gecks. My poor son-in-law. He knows he's got a demon. And it's a gek type, probably. Enough geks can attract a dree, because drees eat emotion, among other things. They eat people. Geks cause the same error to occur repeatedly. They are patterns of chi flow through time. Chi flows through time and space. Chi is life force essence, lung. Also gets translated as air, but it is not oxygen and nitrogen molecularly. It's something quite different. When the chi flows through certain glitches repeatedly, certain accidents are repeatedly occurring. For example, having a broken picker. You know those women who always pick the wrong guy? Who always pick the guy who steals their money and beats them up? Or in some other way is useless, and then they pick another one just like that and another one just like that? That's called having a broken picker. Not uncommon, it's a gek. It is in the channel patterns of the one doing the picking. That's just an obvious example. You all know somebody like that. Sometimes it's someone who continuously suffers poverty. And every time they get a good job, they do something that gets them fired. It's always something different, and they always find something. This is a gek. It's not their fault. They're not trying to sabotage themselves. They've got a gek in their channels. There are methods of combing those out in which I am not a specialist, but shamans have a variety of them. The professional demon working, friggin' translation. The professional shamans who work with Doom, Dude, Gek, Dree, and Parchi. A Gek is most similar to a Parchi, but having been entrenched so long, it seems to take on a life of its own and be laughing at you. Does this help? All these words, Doom, Dude, Gek, Dree, Parchi, all translate as demon. A Parchi is basically just a hindrance. You have a hindrance in your doing math. You've never been able to do numbers, or you're dyslexic, which is a hindrance in your reading. It can be neurological. It can be physical. It can be emotional. That's a Parchi. Once a Parchi seems to take on a life of its own as if it were sentient, it's a Gek. But it's not. It's the way you place sentience in your teddy bear and your car and give it a name. It's in you, not in it. And yet it will react as if it was, because it's part of your belief system, and the world you experience is within your belief system. A Dree is a sentient being. They're just like gods, but they eat people, so we call them demons. A dung is an archetype. Both dudes and dungs are archetypes, negative archetypes. Dung is Mara, illusion, the cause of suffering. Dude is like Tara, who can act for your benefit as if she had independent existence and has a backstory, or more like your protectors, Palden Lamo, Ekazati, Oso Chenma, these. So a dude is one of those which does not benefit sentient beings. It wishes to benefit itself, except it doesn't really have independent existence. It's a clump of belief systems. It exists based on those who perceive it. It can still be very troublesome. Next question.
Suppose, for argument's sake, I am the one who brings all people to enlightenment. Then what? Is there one consciousness in an empty universe? What happens after samsara is emptied?
Try it and see. Samsara is infinite. Nothing happens. All of these are valid answers. Remember, the space-time continuum is not the way you think it is. It's a belief system. So, even though time is endless, as is space, because they are conceived that way, nonetheless, they aren't real. Next question.
One moment here.
We got good questions today.
Oh, yeah. Here's the next one. What is it like to be around an enlightened master? What are the qualities, characteristics, and demeanor of such a being?
It quite varies from being to being. Some are fierce. Many are playful. They all seem to have quite a sense of humor, although some of them are pokey or slapstick. Rinpoche had a rather slapstick sense of humor. They're all different. And they're all the same. But you'll never see that because you'll never see how they are. What you see is how you think they are. So if you think that they are peaceful, probably you will experience that. And should you happen to experience the opposite, probably you will run away and disparage them. If you think they are crazy wise, and they act perfectly sane and worry about getting the car tuned up. You will probably disparage them and go find one who acts crazier because that's what you think they should be. What you see is the inside of your own eyeballs. What you hear is the inside of your own ears. The same for touch, taste, smell, and feel. You think it's outside. You tell stories about its outsideness. But your experience is yours. It's going on in your own mind. The only difference between us and the homeless guy talking to himself and lining his hat with tinfoil so the CIA can't control him is whether we've been caught at it. Your thoughts are as crazy as his, so are mine. They're just thoughts. You really don't need to believe them all. That's how demons eat you. Whispering things that sound like thoughts, getting you to do things that were not, well, seemed a good idea at the time, on account of that little voice telling you that it would work. Like the third glass of whiskey. Sure, I can still walk home after a third glass. No. Next question.
A couple of related questions. Let me find the first one. Please describe how and why to, quote, give virtue away, end of quote. You mentioned it's about feeling it as well as saying it. And someone else asked about the gist of dedicating the merits.
Yeah, same question, phrased differently.
Yes.
If you do a good deed and attempt to retain the beneficial openness of it, when the next stressful perception occurs for you, you are going to clench down and you're going to squish that gewa and destroy it. Anger, fear, jealousy, this all will destroy the gewa you have held to yourself. So you'll never get ahead. Because you will sometimes get cut off in traffic and feel angry. You will sometimes have a teenager and feel angry. If you have a partner, sometimes they will do something which makes you angry. Or you will think they did, even if they didn't. Because it is our nature as living beings to experience the dance of the five Dhyani Buddha's mandala in the form of feelings. All five kinds, categories. In the doing of this, gewa feels like a relaxation. It's a sort of a specific way you recognize a gewa, as it feels opening and relaxing not only to you but to the environment. A non-specific relaxation. So when you perform Gewa, create relaxation, if you push that relaxation into others by vibing relaxed, rather than something bad's going to happen. Oh, something's going to eat me. Yeah. By kicking back, body language, vibing relaxed, you get others relaxed. And then everybody goes their own way. If later on you get stressed and destroy the bit that's within you by being startled in the wrong way, by having one of your PTSDs get activated, all sorts of ways, still what you have shared out there is still happening and being passed on and growing. Do you understand? So it's very important. Dharma practice is relaxing. If you find it not relaxing most of the time, you're probably doing the wrong one. One for which it is not suitable to you at this time. Even prostrations, a good workout is relaxing, right? If you go to the gym and you really have a good workout, afterwards you just feel you're full of endorphins, you're relaxed, you're having some smart water or whatever you like to drink after, maybe some sushi, replace the salts with seaweed. Whatever you're doing, it's like you feel good, relaxed. So even though you may not feel relaxed while concentrating hard or prostrating many, notice that by the end of it, there should be a sensation of completion, satisfaction, relaxation, and that sensation at the end of it is what you give away. Offer it up, offer it out, wish it forward while using your speech chakra to say words that do so. Look, this is the chakra of form. This is the chakra of intent. And this is the chakra of feeling, but for many values of the word feeling. Speech is magical. Why does every culture talk about magic words and magic songs? Every single shamanistic culture you read about or have met or studied, you're going to use the voice to create patterns. So, we do that when offering out the Gewa, the merit. We say out loud that we are doing so while feeling it. Because that's 10 times more powerful than just saying it or just feeling it. Capiche? Next question.
Another pair of related questions.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the theme for today. It's another one about obstacles and difficulties. So one person asks about astrology and something called an obstacle year, and wondering if it's worth paying attention to when you practice Dharma. And a second person asked about difficulties like severe chronic illness, other catastrophes that can happen, onto the path of Dharma, how to incorporate it.
Okay, so astrology is simply a long body map a map through time of the pattern, the big pattern. It's not going to be so much your personal pattern, but rather the big pattern of how things unfold. Now, depending on your personal pattern, certain unfoldings will be more or less comfortable to you. For instance, if you're a dragon, you will probably, should you become homeless, find it annoying. If you're a Cancer crab, you will probably find that it totally destroys you for a time. So if the main pattern of the year is going to be serious changes and travel for all beings, just as the main pattern of last year was hunkering down and disease, for some people, hunkering down and this whole COVID has been much more emotionally difficult than for others. It's hard for everybody, but some people it's devastating. And some people have gone mad. And some people don't mind that much staying home for a while, although it does get old. So what the year is supposed to be for you has to do with how your basic template of time when you came here, the basic pattern of temporal nature that was occurring at the time that you arose, that baseline which is usually there in the personality, how that will be affected by the pattern of this year. Whether it will be particularly difficult or not. For you. Because it's figuring your pattern in relation to the unfolding pattern. So that's the first part. The second part was how to take crap, which is inevitable, as the path. There will be crap. There will be old age, sickness, and death. This will happen to you. Should you be dealing with chronic sickness, it is not your fault. However, you are in control of how you take it. Look, you ever play poker? You get dealt a hand. That's what you got. Might be a good hand, might be a bad hand. Only you can decide how many cards to throw down and refresh. Might be better, might be worse. There's your hand. Only you can decide what to bet on that hand. This is an analogy. It only goes so far. But look, you're dealt a hand. Whatever it is. Not your fault. Don't go, I was evil in a past life. Your biome might have been evil in a past life. It might not even have been you. Karma intersects because you're an amalgam. You're a group. Think about that, you and your biome. Maybe one of the bugs living in your gut was Hitler. You never know. You got lots of bugs in your gut, and I wouldn't be surprised if he became a gut bug for a while. So understanding that it's not your fault, still you are in complete control of what you do with it, how you take it. There is a Western psychological system about this. Does anybody remember what it's called? How you interpret things. Nyando, do you remember?
How to interpret things.
Yeah, there's a Western psychological system that just basically teaches you not to catastrophize.
Blank.
Blank.
I know there is one.
Maybe somebody will stick it in chat for us. I know there is one. It's supposed to be really quick. They always try to make people with chronic pain go do that, because it does help. You choose how you take it. Shall you complain to yourself all the time that it's friggin' hurting? That you have no energy? There's a tendency to do that, especially if it is a change from how you once were. I have been Energizer Bunny in the past. Not at the moment. Bugs me. I complain to my partner. That's Digpa. I worry her, and I make it worse. I'm creating Digpa. I'm doing actual self-harm by continuously complaining about how in this goddamn damp weather all my joints hurt. Instead, I have another choice. I can do some light stretching. I can purchase rock salt and put it under the sheets of my bed. All of these things help slightly with damp weather arthritic pain. And I can shut up about it and have fun doing something else that's sedentary, like making intricate feathers for my hats.
Oh.
One of them around Truitt's that I've been meaning to do as a creative project. I always wear fedoras when I'm out. I'm sun sensitive and I don't like sunscreen. So I like these little feather things, different ones for my hats, and I make them. Why am I trying to do gardening when I hurt and then complain about it and have to be helped up because I can't stand up because my left knee isn't working, rather than make feathers for my hats? I'm self-sabotaging. Do you see how I do that? I don't think it's fair for me to talk to you about how you do it unless I can tell you how I do it. You see, the only reason I'm anywhere as a decent teacher is every mistake that anyone could possibly make, I made it. It's how I find where all the holes on the path are. I fall in them. And then I get to warn you to walk around them, which is kind of nice. But look at this. This is a good example. What I do with a chronic incurable illness, osteoarthritis, with old age. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. You ever watch how an 85-year-old moves with the stiffness? So I have a choice to do yoga and stretches just lightly, gently. I have a choice to make sure my bed at night is warm and dry on cold, damp days. These don't make it go away. They maybe help a little bit. And I have a chance not to dwell on it, not to it, not to entertain it and feed it a cup of tea. Notice, accept, relax. Those of you with chronic conditions, I want to hear if this is at all useful to you or if you have further questions on that.
In the chat, people mentioned neuro-linguistic programming, which, remember, that's what a friend of ours specialized in. And for the reprogramming.
Yes, I can see that.
And cognitive behavioral
That's the
therapy
one I
the
was
other
thinking
one.
of. Basic cognitive behavioral therapy and neuro-linguistic programming can take the edge off it. But the real thing behind it is to neither blame yourself nor pity yourself. No feeling sorry for yourself for having this particular challenge. Everybody's got something. There's worse. Whatever you've got, you could have something worse. Nor fault yourself for it and blame others. Some people, there's always this sense of fault. I don't know where they get it. Some parental thing. But this sense of it's got to be somebody's fault. So you're either bad and terrible for it, because you can't get out of bed because you've got chronic fatigue, or the medical system is bad and terrible because they don't believe in chronic fatigue and have been giving you a hard time. And that's why you can't get out of bed. Neither one of those is useful. Know how many spoons you have. Use them as needed. When you run out, go to bed. But a sense of humor and the awareness of the dream is incredibly important. When you know that this is, analogy coming, just a video game, and that happens to be the pit you have fallen into that your ingenuity is supposed to either get you out of or find the jewel at the bottom of, you'll be a lot happier. When you know that this is not that different from a dream, an illusion, a magical illusion, Dzogchen, when you are aware that you are creating your universe without making it your fault for experiencing it the way it is. Can you find the balance, the midline between those two extremes? Because that's the thing. Somebody has cancer. Oh, what did they do wrong? Nothing. Someone has cancer. They have a unique challenge of having cancer. Let's see how they'll play it. Someone has a chronic disease. Someone has old age, which is a friggin' chronic disease. Someone has Ehlers-Danlos. Someone has all the many things someone might have. Okay, it's not their fault they have that. They didn't do something wrong to get that. Now, how are they going to play it? How are you going to play it? Because that's what matters. Find the joy in what you can do. Accept the changes. when you can no longer climb on top of the bus and ride there. I use examples from my own life. I love riding on top of the buses and the trains. Don't think I can get up there at this point. And of course, if you fall off the top of the bus or the train, it's your problem, not the bus's problem. Do we have any more on this subject?
An interesting side question.
Yes?
Is there a practice that uses rage as a fuel in the way that Tumo uses the energy of desire?
Yes. Working with emotions. You can get it to pop and white out and go past with intense enough emotions. But you need to be trained, you need to be good at it, and you need to be able to see through the story that the emotion is riding, is wearing, is covered with, is surrounded with, is supported by, and is supporting. You need to know the nature of thought to be able to do that. You're thinking. Where you be doing that? Those thoughts you're thinking, what they be made of? Well, look. You don't have to stop thinking, keep thinking. Just look past those thoughts. They're transparent, you know that. Look past them at where they're be happening. They're not made of anything other than that. Arising in nowhere as no thing. Lacking either substance or duration. Not occupying space or time until you stick them together and pay attention with your believing attention, thinking they're true and real. Look at them. Look right at your thought, not what it says, not what you are thinking, the very thought itself. It is quite possible to look directly through thoughts while thinking them and see their nature without in any way this interfering with the thinking, nor does the thinking interfere with the nature. Sopa, third word of Garab Dorji. Live in it. Next question.
After contemplating outer Nundro, I feel that all samsaric activities are repulsive and only Dharma makes sense. How can I live in society with that view?
The purpose of outer Nundro is to have you leave society and practice Dharma. If you choose not to do that, develop a sense of humor. Next question.
Does practicing have an impact on memory or the way we operate mentally?
Makes you trust it less. So that you know that what you remember is not actually what happened. It has that effect. Makes you more able to focus your attention as you choose, which may assist you to remember those bits of thought that you wish to return to and remember, such as a memorized poem or text, or the procedure for doing a certain kind of equation. I would say those would be the effects on memory. Next. I'm really going through them today fast.
Oh, well, a number of the questions have been related since we talked about geks earlier. A number of people have asked for more specific methods for dealing with geks. How do you fix a broken pecker? That was picker.
Picker.
Not pecker. And how
Become
do you
a nun.
Right. How do you deal with geks and demons once you've spotted them? What
Laugh
do you do?
at them. Step 1, point at it and laugh. How do you keep a cat off the counter? Every time it gets on there, point at it and laugh. They hate being embarrassed. That said, there are a number of practices depending on the kind of thing you've got going. For instance, Vajrasattva is very effective for parchis. There's also a prayer called Parchilamsam, the recitation of which is very effective for parchis. There is, for Dri, a mountain song. For Dung and Dud, Dzogchen's the most effective. Actually, if you can do it, Dzogchen's the most effective for all of them, the fastest. But that presumes you are capable of resting in Trekchö. Should you not be capable of that, then there are ceremonial and tantric methods. Chöd is extremely effective. If you like the Machik Chöd of the Kargyu lineage, Sultramelione is an excellent teacher of that. If you would prefer Troma, I will look and see if there is someone I can get who's really good at it to teach it to you. I'm thinking of Mayum, if she'd be willing. She's certainly got the technical ability. That's Rinpoche's teacher, Kunu Rinpoche's mother in this life. And she's certainly done more of that practice than virtually anybody I know. Very, very powerful female Lama. Of the crazy wisdom kind. Although that does mellow when you get older. I'll ask her if she'd like to come on here, but to teach Chöd, it will be A concerted month-long retreat.
We did have someone ask about it.
Yeah, if I can get Kunzang Lama to come on and do this. She speaks English well enough, slight accent. But if she's willing to do this, and I can only ask, and I'll send her an email later, it's going to take you, first you have to memorize it. The whole prayer in Tibetan. Then you have to learn to use the implements. You need a kongling, thigh-bone trumpet, and you need a big round damaru like this. And you have to, it's different how you use that from how you use the little ones. You need to learn to blow it and learn to use the damaru. So it's a big deal to learn that properly. I would need at least 20 people. And since it would take weekly teachings for a month at least to get you able to do it, including knowing the cautions like never practice it in a moving vehicle and things like that. If you live in a family house, don't do it in the family house. If you live alone, that's different. If you live in a cave, sure, do it in your cave or a retreat hut. But don't do it in your family home. Okay? If there's not yogis living there, like kids and spouses and things. If you live alone, that's fine. Although, be ready for it. Be willing. It is not an easy practice, but it is incredibly powerful and effective. I'll talk to her. We'll see. I don't know. Some of you probably have the ability, the stamina, the lifestyle ability to take the time. To really learn it. But teaching it without your being willing to do that, why waste somebody's time? Yours and theirs. If you learn a practice, it's because you want to do the practice. Don't take my time to learn shit that you're not going to practice. Just because it's going by. Okay? Next question, and help me remember to send her an email.
Yes, a lot of enthusiastic people saying, yeah, I would do it.
Can you get the necessary stuff? You can't do it without the stuff. It's ceremonial. You need the big damaru. You need a kongling. You probably won't be able to get one made of a human femur easily in the West, but they make them of other things now. You still need one.
I still remember one time we did Chöd with the nuns up at the caves, and it was my first time doing it with practitioners that powerful, and I just remember being very blown out of the water by the whole thing. And you talk about summoning the demons, and yep,
there they were.
Uh-huh.
And then we fed them tormas.
Yes.
And they went away happy.
Yes.
So let's go for another subject. I will check on whether I can get someone on here to teach you Chöd.
Someone had asked, would you speak about accomplishing dancing stillness? I know one can't talk about it, but can you transmit about it again?
I can talk around it. You're talking about Trultra Naljor, the yoga of dancing stillness, which comes after Shine with an object, pebble. Shine without an object. Tawa. Beginnings of Tawa. You must be very clear before you undertake this. What is moving and what is stillness? You must be able to differentiate between the moving and the stillness so that a moving thought of stillness is not confused with real stillness. A moving feeling of stillness is not confused with stillness. A moving perception of stillness is not confused with stillness. It is imperative that you understand this first. Your thoughts, and you understand it experientially. Your thoughts are moving. They come and go. They change. Your feelings are moving. They come and go. They change. Your sensory perceptions are moving. Look to the right. Perceive what's on your right. Look to the left. Perceive what's on your left. They're different. Perceptions change. Touch a smooth surface. Touch a rough surface. Your perceptions change. It is of the nature of thoughts, feelings, and perceptions to change. They are impermanent. Impermanence is a word for the moving. Okay? You got to get really clear here so as not to confuse the perception of infinite open awareness, the perception of Tawa, with Tawa. You cannot stabilize the moving. It will move. It is of its nature to move. You cannot move the stillness. No matter how much moving goes on, the stillness does not move. Having clarified the difference between the two in your own heart, now examine how the moving arises in the stillness without moving the stillness, without departing from the stillness, dissolves in the stillness, and there is no actual thing, object, which moved. Your thoughts move. What moved? Think of a cherry. Think of a vase of flowers. Your thoughts changed. What changed? What didn't change? How are they the same? Begin to notice. Start with thoughts, they're easiest. That thoughts arise in stillness without anything actually doing the moving. The stillness dances with the vitality of lucidity, ability to think. Feel and perceive. That lucidity is inherent in the stillness. And yet it never moves, it never leaves itself. To be other than itself, it remains always beyond time and space. And yet the time-space continuum created by movement, by something going from one place to another over a period of time, a duration, size and duration, space-time continuum. There's no thing doing the moving. There is movement inherent in stillness. And there is stillness inherent in movement. Look at that. This is the dancing stillness. For the movement never moves the stillness, nor does the stillness in any way restrain the movement. And the movement arises in stillness and dissolves in stillness without a single thing moving. Notice it. Become sure. Shultra Naljur. Next question.
Here's one. I also remembered Venerable Wangdo Rinpoche would talk about this from time to time. And the question is, do you think most of us are beginners of Dharma, or have we encountered the teachings before?
Most people who spend a considerable time studying Tibetan Buddhism were killed by the Chinese back in 1950. Haven't you noticed? 1951, 1959, and later. Where do you think all those Tibetans went? Heading for the Western paradise. Otherwise, Tibetan incense wouldn't smell like mama. I'd say most people practicing, those who really take deeply, feeling as if they've come home to the Tibetan lineage, have been Tibetan recently, where it was stored for ever so long without anybody being able to get at it, and have created the Pagcha to practice it there. Those who practice multiple lineages and have been brought to the Tibetan lineage by feeling trust in a teacher are just as likely to have been a Siberian shaman or Peruvian or a druid or anything else of interest. Maybe even a Christian mystic. I would say most, but not all, are not new to Dharma recently. And everybody's had it at some time, but maybe in other eons, and you've probably forgotten those Pagchas have faded by now. We've all been everything. Time is infinite. The past is infinite. You've been kings and beggars, thieves and saints, child molesters and great philosophers, sometimes at the same time. You've all been everything at some point. It's just that on the wheel, you create lots of gewa and you go up, and then you spend it at the top and you go down. And you eventually hit bottom and try creating lots of gewa, and things get better and better and better and better and better, and you spend the gewa and they go down, 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 down. You've been doing that repeatedly for a damn long time. So yeah, you've all been practitioners before, but only some of you recently. You can tell. It feels like home. You smell the incense and you think, Mama, Mama's kitchen. That smells like Mama's kitchen, even though your actual Mama's kitchen smelled like garlic and fish or whatever it was she was cooking. Next question.
If I'm still eating meat at times, is there a mantra or method to work with it apart from dedicating or offering to the Buddhas inside my body?
Yes, there is. Repeat after me. Let's see if I can do it slowly. Chomdin de dejin shegpa. Aldin la chagsalo. Chomdin de dejin shegpa. Paldong la chagsalo. Chomdin de dejin shegpa. Nampar olpa nangpar la chagsalo. Oma. Chomdin de dejin shegpa. Om a berahong katsaramam soha. 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 And blow on the meat. This will bless the meat with the power of the past Buddhas, so that whosoever it was, the flesh of whomsoever that was that you're eating, will be reborn human or higher once. They get a chance. You can give them that. Their next life will be human or God. But usually if they're an animal that gets et, like a factory chicken, I mean, I don't eat those, but many people do. They have such a lousy life, they probably don't have being born as a god karma. So you get them human, and what they do with that is their choice. Chomden de dejin shekpa podzin la chak salo. Chomden de dejin shekpa podzog la chak salo. Chomden de dejin shekpa pa nampar olpa nangpar chempa la chak salo. Oma berahong katsaramam soha. 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 Oma berohung katsaramam soha. Oma berohung katsaramam soha. 7 times. This is the lung. I believe the text is on my website. If it isn't, I will send it to you, and it will be.
I see my true nature of awareness, but I'm still suffering because I'd like to do much more for people than I do. How can I keep on going?
You're suffering because you have want and fear. Relax. Not turn away from bodhisattva, but turn away from your desire to be the one who helps. You got ego in there. You want to help people, rather than wishing that all people were doing better and happy. It's fine to be open to helping, but that is not the same as a personal want to be the one who helps, and then a discomfort because one's want is not fulfilled. Fine line here between hope and fear and bodhisattva. Yes, want it enough to budge yourself when there's an opportunity to fish the drowning bug out of the mud puddle, even if your feet get wet. But not so much that you are made impatient, that no bug is drowning in the mud puddle in front of you today. Okay? There are infinite opportunities to do things of benefit to sentient beings. Do them, rather than worrying about what you're not doing. That's ego. It is. Next question.
Let's see, a question about Tibetan almanacs and cosmology. I get the sense the Nagas, like the Mamos, have been deeply upset for a while. Apart from doing Naga pujas on Naga positive days, how can we appease the Nagas?
Clean up the garbage around water sources, please. Go down to the beach, pick up litter. Go down to the creek, pick up litter. Go to the lake, pick up litter. Nagas are water dwellers. Look at what we've done to the water. Don't use things that will pollute the water. Be careful where you throw them. Sailboats are one thing, but noise pollution from power boats are another thing. Avoid it when possible. Oh, sure, you may need to turn on the putt-putt to make it to docks because you're not a good enough sailor to come in by wind power. But recreationally, please use wind power to avoid noise pollution and offending the Nagas, because they bite. Frankly, picking up garbage is a lot more powerful to befriend them than pujas. Yeah, they appreciate the pujas and the tea and cookies, but which would you rather? If you were my student, which do you think I'd rather? You came over and scoured my bathroom, or you gave me some cookies? Please, scour my bathroom. It's a mess. Pick up the garbage. Next question.
It was when I had just seen it. Somebody asking about putting Mani stones into water streams. Would that also help?
Yes.
Here we go. What are the...
After you pick up the garbage. That was a direct message. Never mind. Yes, dear.
What are the moving sperm-like luminous things that can be seen when I stare at the sky and during Trekcha?
Tiggly. If you refer to the big ones, tiggly is interestingly also a word for sperm. The big ones that look like a fisheye. If you mean the little super fast ones that seem to be sort of dark and white, Rika. They're neither inside nor outside.
And can you speak a little bit on the practice of sky gazing, blending mind with space?
And go out under a clear sky. Wear a hat. Or do it in morning or afternoon, but not noon, so that shade extends to cover your head. If you are in a climate where the sun is not hot, you can do it with the sun at your back. But do not have the sun fall on your face while you do this. You see, one of the physical side effects of sky gazing is that the pupils in your eyes may dilate. You do not want a sunburn on your retina. Trust me. Not only very painful, but quite dangerous for your vision. And cataracts. So, go out, sit beneath the sky. Sit comfortable in a relaxed manner with your channels in alignment. That should be a habit when you sit. I know we like to cross our ankles, but that should still be a habit to smooth your channels when you're sitting. You should be in a high enough place that you can look at the sky without tipping your head way back like that. So it would be hard, say, in Manhattan with all those tall buildings unless you got to the top of one. You want to be able to see the sky at eye level or maybe just a little bit above. So go on the roof. Go down to the shore, go up the mountain, find a place. And let your eyes rest on the infinite sky while relaxing. Don't do anything. Let Trekcha occur naturally. To become embroiled in a fantasy is a doing. You are following your thoughts. To try to force yourself to stop thinking is a doing. You are suppressing your thoughts. To try to meditate is a doing. You are trying to meditate, or you are meditating. Don't do anything. To be distracted is a doing. To single-pointedly focus is a doing. Don't do anything. sit there and relax. Like that. What else have we got? Much more?
Well, I'm going through different questions.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what is meant by the root guru? My understanding is that it is the first teacher who opened the Dharma for me. Is that correct?
No, that's your refuge guru. Or possibly one of your heart teachers. The first teacher who shows you the nature of your own mind in such a way that you see it is called your root guru. Some people who are practicing only Tantra and have not seen the nature of their mind, but have met a teacher to whom they cleave solely with heart, feel that that teacher will be their root guru whenever they are ripe enough. And so they refer to them as their root guru, but they aren't yet. I knew that Rinpoche would be my root guru from Signs in a Dream. Long before he taught me, because I had to learn Tibetan first, because he didn't speak English and he wasn't about to. So I didn't call him my root guru, I called him my teacher, until such time as he showed me the first glimpse of Tawa in such a way that I actually saw it. That's the root teacher. Until you see your own mind, all teachers are willing to try. Even if you have a root teacher, sometimes they die, sometimes they're in a different country or they're not around. All teachers are still willing to show it to you again. If you love a teacher, you feel strongly and want to practice with that teacher, that's your heart teacher. Even if what they teach you is not the nature of your own mind, heart teachers are important. You can have lots of them. Monogamy is not how it works. Root guru is like, look, all of you had a first sexual experience. Remember her or him? Yeah, you do. Because there's only one first. That's root guru. You might never have seen him again. It might have been a one-night stand. It might have been a brief fling as a teenager. But there's a certain fondness memory, yeah. Hi, Douglas. Very fond memory. Poor guy, I really didn't give him much choice. Not that another 14-year-old boy really wanted to refuse such a thing. They don't at that age. Actually, unless acculturated, neither do the girls. That's what root guru means. Even if you never see them again, you will remember them as the one who showed you the first glimpse, and you will forever honor them as that. And everybody else is your heart guru, and that can be a more intense relationship in some ways. For many people, root guru and heart guru are the same person. That's extremely common. But, for example, Lama Thupten Yeshe was my heart teacher. And I always asked him, will you be my root guru? Will you show me? Nope, not me. I'm your babysitter. I'm not your mama. Don't worry, you'll find the way. I'll look after you until you find where you're supposed to be. That was our relationship. And he taught me so much. But he did not show me the nature of my own mind. And when I broached it, we called it shunyata. I wanted him to show me. That was the word I knew then. Nope, not doing it. Nope, not me. May you all find your root guru. Recognize the true nature of your own mind, the real totality of yourself. And as such, be liberated. I send forth my heartfelt prayer. That was Monlam, wish path. You gotta say it out loud. Give me about one or two more.
Okay, continuing on the topic of root gurus and heart teachers, if seeing the nature of your own mind occurs because of a book or a video or some other experience, is that your root guru then?
It pretty much doesn't happen with a book, at least among Tibetans. So there is no answer for that. In fact, no, what you get from a book is an idea. That's not your own mind, that's the idea of your own mind. Books hold ideas. As for a video, maybe. We don't know, it's too new. I suspect video, yes, but book, no. You see, from a book, because of its two-dimensional quality and lack of telepathy, books are not telepathic, I'm sorry. I don't care how long you sleep with them under your pillow, the knowledge won't go in. We used to try that as kids, in hope. So, from a book, all you can get is an understanding of the nature of your mind, which is not seeing it. It's only understanding it. If you have not gone farther than what you got from a book, you don't have a root guru yet. And frankly, videos, I don't know. Maybe. Too new. Not enough experimental has been done. We really only started doing this kind of thing by video a year ago. Before then, everything was pretty much, teachers traveled around, did it in person. This change resulted from COVID, where we had to find a way to support our students, and we couldn't go there. Within a year, does the pointing out transmit by video in real time? We think so. Norbu Rinpoche experimented with this sometime before any of us did, as he got old and couldn't travel as much and had students all over the world. Does it preserve in a video recording? Theoretically, since time and space arise in mind, and I've never been anything other than mind, you would think it could do that. But does it? We'll have to see. Maybe. Next.
What is the fourth time? It's something you often mention in your teachings.
We have the past, the present, the future, and the fourth time can be described in one of two ways. Either imaginary time, in a universe long, long ago, in a galaxy long, long ago, far, far away. Fictional time, but also it is used to refer to all Buddha, that's one way of using it. But also when we use it in the context of all Buddhas of the fourth time, tujipa is the word. Sanje tamche tujipa, or rather you'd say tujipa sanje tamche. It is outside, a euphemism, a pointing for outside the time-space continuum, beyond time. And since time and space are so interwoven as to be inseparable, beyond time has no space. Space requires time, time requires space. They're integral. It's why scientifically you cannot bring a substance to absolute 0 degrees Kelvin. It would cease to exist. Because at 0 degrees Kelvin, which is a theoretical temperature, there is no movement. Since there are no actual things which move, look at quantum physics. Without movement, there's no thing there. The edges of physics are fun. I had a really nice book on time somewhere down in here. Not by Stephen Hawkins, by somebody else, but it was really quite interesting. I must have lent it to somebody. Next question.
I'm confused about the instruction in Trekcha. Looking at mind is a doing. Do we relax or do we look?
Oh, I was giving the instruction for sky gazing. Trekcha is a doing. You do it until it does itself. Sky gazing instruction generally involves just relaxing and not doing and allowing Trekcha to occur naturally, which it will if you've done enough of it. So first you sit on your cushion and you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it. Okay? Until it can do itself. When you raise a child, you are constantly tying their shoes until they can tie their own shoes with ease. Like that. That was an analogy.
In my lucid dreams, there is always I, which is aware that it's a dream, and there are other characters which are not. Is it because I'm still attached to the singular self?
Are you always human, and is there only one of you? See if you can be 2 or 6. pigeons.
Give me a moment to find the...
In dream yoga, you want to increase your flexibility. If you're always one human, even aware that you're dreaming, you might want to try the speech Rushen with the stick the length of your forearm. That can help increase flexibility. You want to be able to spread out from there into other experiences. If you're in that level of dream yoga where you are a single person yourself in the dream, go get teachings on the other levels from the great dreamers. You know how to find someone in a dream. You call their name and you walk. As you walk, your environment will change. It will take you to an environment that you will imagine you share with them. Guru Rinpoche, the Dakinis, Milarepa, whoever you like. Ask them to teach you more about dream yoga on the next level, how to transform. You can't really show that on this side.
Someone had a question about the relationship between Dzogchen and nihilism, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Nihilism is a misunderstanding of Dzogchen. Nihilism, as I understand it, is nothing exists. That is not Dzogchen. Nihilism has almost a religious belief in nothing. Nothing exists, no point, absolutely futile. I think it goes in that direction. Do whatever you want. Crowley was into something like that. That's not Dzogchen. Absolutely no relationship between the two, except that sometimes some people get caught in a misunderstanding of Dzogchen because they miss the vitality of it. They miss Sambhogakaya nature of mind, focusing all their attention on the infinite emptiness of Dharmakaya nature of mind, that infinite vast expanse, without even noticing the least bit how vital and alive it is, how lucid, that it is able to think, feel, and perceive. And so missing that experientially, they become obsessed with nothingness. That is an error and will do you a mischief if you fall in. One more, and then I think we may be done for today. Are we beginning to run out a little bit?
Yes. They're either very specific or very broad questions that actually I think you've covered in previous videos. But one question here. I seem to be attached or attracted to a lot of different spiritual traditions. Is this an obscuration in the long run?
Probably not. Eventually, it is hoped you will pick one that suits you. In the beginning, exploration, many teachers, many traditions, many practices is useful. That's how you find the one that suits you. But in the middle, you're going to need to pick one and do it. Otherwise, it will become an obscuration, and you'll be a dilettante. A tiddly bit here, tiddly bit there, and that won't work. So check them out. Check out as many as you need, but eventually just pick one and practice it all the way through. And only if you find that it doesn't go all the way should you change after that. There are a few that they've lost bits of the lineage. Some of the Native American elders have been killed off. Some lineages in some tribes, the end Dzogchen part has been lost. Not all. There's bits remaining. Druids lost the Dzogchen part well over 1,000 years ago, probably about 1,500 years ago. I don't know that much about other histories, or at least the Druid lineage I encountered. Spoke of having lost it back then, with the Romans cutting down all the trees and destroying the temples and killing the elders. Yeah, the American Indians aren't the first ones. Although the British do have a bad habit of that. Oh, everybody does. I really do wish they'd get over it. One more.
One more. How do the Tibetans perceive autism?
I don't think they clearly do. I know when I was there, and I'm autistic, that was just what they thought Westerners were. Whatever I was must be what Ingies are, and Ingies are weird anyway. They perceive it as a disability. If it's extreme, in such a way that the child or person, I'm thinking of a little autistic boy in Sopema, Kanuri child, he will probably not be able to, he's severe enough that it is somewhat unlikely that he will be self-supporting in the Scrabble of India. Sweet kid, though. His granny's a good friend of mine. Granny, great aunt of some dimension. Last I looked, his mother did not have a husband. She was on her own with him. They saw it as a disability, some kind of unfortunate karma. Teach him as much Dharma as he can learn and hope he gets a better chance next time, I believe is how they see any disability. They do not have the treatments and compensatory things for disabilities that, due to our extra free time in the West we have developed, our creativity and our extra free time, they don't have a Tibetan Sign Language. The deaf have no speech. ASL is a perfectly good language. It's in some ways more expressive than English. It is non-existent in Tibet. Training for the blind, such as guide dogs, there's no such thing. Never heard of it. A blind person sits at home and says mantra in order to have better sight next time. There's usually an acceptance of a disability rather than attempting to make the best of it or cure what's possible. Tibetans are not as experimentally creative as Westerners. They are much more preservers than creators, culturally. As Rinpoche used to say, ice cream and airplanes, only you guys would have come up with it. Amazing. Ice cream and airplanes. It's one of the beauties of the West, but why the Dharma will probably die out in a generation or two. Because we like to play with it and change it and adapt it. And so it will be lost. However, we have tapes. Tapes. You see how old I am. We have video recordings. Those will remain. It is said that by the time Maitreya, the next Buddha, is born, the Dharma will exist only in the form of recordings and books. No living lineage undistorted. It's why I stick to the tradition so strongly. There's reasons for that. I let you guys experiment, but I try to hold you back from claiming that the experiment is lineage. Say, this is an experiment. This is something I've decided to try. Respect the lineage, because when that's gone, it's all gone. In order to receive from a recording, a video recording, a Wong, you need already to be developmentally able to reach the fourth time, because that's where the Wong will be. You actually have to utilize the fourth time to catch a recorded Wong or pointing out. And to do that, you have to not believe so strongly in the adamantine existence of the time-space continuum. You have to at least by then be experientially aware that time and space are mental fabrications, ideas. So we'll see. Try not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Next generation. And if you're not sure if something is part of the baby or the bathwater, keep it anyway. Okay? Ye wandi nyur duda che che sala go pashu. I'll give you a traditional example. No Tibetan would ever buy or sell Dharma. no Tibetan in the tradition would ever charge a door fee. But Westerners have always charged door fees for information, college tuitions, school fees. And so it has been adopted in the West. It is not traditional. It is against tradition. And I think it's part of the baby. Dharma is always freely given, dana freely accepted. That is how it's always been. I think that is part of the baby, not part of the bathwater. Lay people and those with the funds to do so have always supported the yogis, realizing that the results of the practice are shared. Should any of you wish to support a yogi, send me an email about it. $25 a month, 25 euros, $25, something around in there. I'll introduce you to someone who's practicing. Yeah. Enough for that. I'm spacing out. Thank you for joining me today. Next Thursday is Mahamudra, for those of you practicing in the Mahamudra system. That's on Zoom, so you have to be invited. You have to go to the website and arrange that. And next weekend, I believe we have Lama Candice, an old friend, and a student of Wangdo Rinpoche's, who is teaching on Dzogchen for toddlers. And she may actually have a toddler teaching with her. A little boy named Garab Dorji, named after the famous teacher. Anyway, we'll see if he wants to. He's still little. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.